Almost 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. And here is the shocking part. Most have no idea. You could be living with it right now without a single obvious symptom. But your body might be sending quiet, early warnings that you are simply overlooking. In this video, we are breaking down 7 subtle signs that could mean your blood sugar is creeping into dangerous territory. And here is the key. These are not the typical signs you hear about in every health video. These are the overlooked, easily dismissed changes that can silently lead you straight into type 2 diabetes. Stay with me until the very end, because the last sign is the one most people completely ignore, and by the time they notice it, the damage has already begun. Sign 1. Constant fatigue. Feeling tired all the time is not just about needing more sleep. For many people, especially those on the path toward diabetes, constant fatigue can be one of the earliest and most overlooked red flags. When blood sugar levels are higher than normal, your body struggles to use insulin effectively. This means the glucose from your food stays in the bloodstream instead of moving into your cells where it can be turned into energy. The result? Your cells are running on empty, even though you are eating enough. This is why you can feel completely drained even after what seems like a full night's rest. The exhaustion is not just physical, it can be mental too. Tasks that used to feel simple, like running errands or having a conversation, might suddenly feel like a chore. Many people write this off as just getting older or not sleeping well, but in reality, it could be your body waving a warning flag. Jim, a 58-year-old from Ohio. Jim was a retired firefighter who stayed fairly active and thought he was in good health. But over the past year, he noticed that no matter how much sleep he got, he still felt worn out by midday. He would need an extra cup of coffee just to get through simple activities, and he often skipped his evening walks because he was too tired. At first, Jim blamed it on aging and stress. But when his wife convinced him to see his doctor, a routine blood test revealed his blood sugar was higher than normal, squarely in the prediabetes range. Jim was shocked. He thought fatigue was just a normal part of life after 50. But once he started making changes, cutting back on processed carbs, adding more vegetables, and walking regularly, his energy levels began to return. Within a few months, not only was he less tired, but his blood sugar numbers improved, pulling him out of the prediabetes zone. The key takeaway is this. If you find yourself feeling drained most of the time, even when you have slept enough, it might not just be about rest. Your body could be struggling to get energy into your cells because of blood sugar issues. This is a sign you should never ignore. Early testing and small lifestyle changes can make all the difference in preventing diabetes and getting your energy back. Sign 2. Increased thirst and frequent urination. Feeling unusually thirsty all the time, no matter how much water you drink, can be a hidden sign that your blood sugar is running too high. Here is what happens inside your body. When there is too much glucose in your blood, your kidneys work harder to filter and remove it. To do that, they pull extra water from your body, which leads to more trips to the bathroom. This constant fluid loss makes you even more thirsty, creating a frustrating cycle that can be easy to miss at first. Many people chalk it up to drinking more coffee, warmer weather, or just getting older, but when it starts happening day after day, it is worth paying attention to. The thirst can feel almost unquenchable, and the bathroom trips, especially at night, can disrupt your sleep and leave you feeling worn out the next day. Linda, a 62-year-old from Arizona. Linda loved spending her mornings gardening and would usually carry a bottle of water with her. But she began noticing she was refilling that bottle more often than ever, and still, her mouth felt dry. On top of that, she was waking up twice a night to use the bathroom, something she had never experienced before. She thought maybe it was just part of aging or the hot desert climate. When Linda went in for a routine checkup, she mentioned it to her doctor almost as an afterthought. Her doctor immediately ordered a blood test, which showed her fasting glucose was higher than normal, right in the prediabetes range. That constant thirst and frequent urination were not just random symptoms. They were her body's way of trying to manage the excess sugar in her blood. By adjusting her diet to include fewer refined carbs, adding regular walks to her routine, and increasing her fiber intake, Linda saw her thirst return to normal and her nighttime bathroom trips disappear. More importantly, her blood sugar levels began to move back into a healthier range. If you find yourself reaching for water far more than usual and making extra trips to the bathroom, especially at night, do not ignore it. These could be early signs that your blood sugar is higher than it should be. Catching this symptom early can help you take steps to reverse prediabetes before it becomes something more serious. Sign 3. Slow healing cuts or bruises. If you have ever noticed a small cut on your hand or a bruise on your leg that just does not seem to go away, it might be more than just bad luck. High blood sugar can slow your body's natural healing process. Here is why. When glucose levels stay elevated, it can damage blood vessels and reduce circulation. That means less oxygen and fewer nutrients are delivered to the injured area, making it harder for your body to repair itself. For many people, this happens so gradually that they do not connect the dots. You might think, I must have banged my arm harder than I thought, or I guess cuts take longer to heal as you get older. But slow healing can be one of the body's quiet ways of signaling that blood sugar is too high. James, a 67-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. James loved woodworking in his garage, and little nicks and scrapes were part of the hobby. But one day, a small cut on his finger stayed red and tender for nearly 2 weeks. He cleaned it, covered it, and even applied antibiotic ointment, but it barely improved. Around the same time, he noticed a bruise on his shin that had been hanging around for over a month. When he finally mentioned it to his doctor during a checkup, the doctor decided to run a blood sugar test. The results revealed that James was in the prediabetes range. His slow healing wasn't just an age-related change. It was a sign that high blood sugar was affecting his circulation and his immune system's ability to respond to injuries. With a few targeted lifestyle changes, cutting back on sugary snacks, adding daily walks, and incorporating more leafy greens and lean proteins into his meals, James noticed a difference. Within a couple of months, new cuts healed faster, bruises faded quicker, and his blood sugar numbers began to improve. If you notice that minor injuries seem to hang around much longer than they used to, don't just shrug it off. Slow healing could be your body's way of warning you that something is off internally. Getting tested early could give you the chance to make changes before prediabetes progresses further. Sign 4. Blurred vision. If your eyesight has been playing tricks on you, clear one day, fuzzy the next, it might not just be about needing stronger glasses. Fluctuating blood sugar levels can actually change the fluid balance in your eyes. When glucose levels rise, extra fluid can enter or leave the lens of your eye, temporarily changing its shape. Even a small change in shape can make your vision blurry. For some people, the blurriness comes and goes, so they brush it off as fatigue, poor lighting, or simply getting older. But this vision change can be one of the earliest signs that blood sugar is not under control. Take Susan, a 59-year-old from British Columbia. She loved photography and prided herself on capturing sharp, detailed images. But over the course of a few weeks, she started noticing something strange. Sometimes, when she looked through her camera, the edges of objects looked slightly out of focus. The next day, everything might be fine again. She assumed her eyes were just tired from spending too much time editing photos on her computer. It wasn't until she missed a step on her front porch, because she misjudged the edge, that she decided to visit her optometrist. After a few simple tests, her eye doctor noticed signs of fluid changes in her lenses and suggested she get her blood sugar checked. The results revealed she was in the prediabetes range. Susan was shocked. She had no idea that the ups and downs in her blood sugar were affecting her vision. Once she started eating balanced meals with more whole grains and vegetables, cut back on refined carbs, and added short walks after lunch and dinner, her vision became more stable. The key thing to remember is that blurred vision related to blood sugar is often temporary in the early stages, but that does not mean it should be ignored. If your eyesight changes suddenly or fluctuates without an obvious reason, it is worth getting both your eyes and your blood sugar checked. Your eyes can be one of the first places high blood sugar leaves its mark. Catching the problem early could protect not only your vision, but your overall health. Sign 5. Unexplained weight changes. Weight changes that seem to come out of nowhere can be unsettling, especially if you have not changed your eating habits or activity level. In the context of prediabetes, these shifts can be an important clue that your body is struggling to manage blood sugar. High blood sugar can lead to weight gain because excess glucose often gets stored as fat. On the other hand, if your body cannot use glucose properly for energy, it may start breaking down muscle and fat for fuel, leading to weight loss. Both directions, gain or loss, are worth paying attention to, especially if they happen without a clear reason. Take Mark, a 62-year-old retired teacher from Ohio. He had been at roughly the same weight for years, but over the course of just a few months, he noticed he had lost nearly 15 pounds. Friends told him he looked great, but he felt uneasy. He had not been dieting, and his appetite was actually bigger than before. Mark brushed it off at first, figuring maybe it was just a phase. But when he started feeling unusually tired after yard work and noticed his pants were looser around the waist, he decided to see his doctor. Blood tests revealed his blood sugar was running high, and his body was not able to use glucose efficiently. That unexplained weight loss was actually his body breaking down muscle for energy. On the flip side, unexplained weight gain can be just as much of a warning sign. When insulin resistance develops, common in prediabetes, the body stores more fat, particularly around the abdomen. This belly fat, in turn, increases inflammation and makes it even harder for the body to regulate blood sugar. The bottom line: weight changes that happen without you trying should never be ignored. They are not always related to diet or exercise. Sometimes, they are your body's way of signaling that something deeper is wrong. If you notice a steady increase or decrease in weight over several weeks, especially when combined with other signs like fatigue or increased thirst, it is worth asking your doctor for a simple blood sugar test. Early detection can help you take action before prediabetes progresses into type 2 diabetes. Sign 6. Tingling or numbness in hands and feet. That strange tingling in your hands or feet might not just be from sitting in one position too long. When blood sugar stays high for extended periods, it can start to damage the tiny blood vessels that supply your nerves. This damage, known as neuropathy, often begins in the extremities because they are the farthest from your heart and the most sensitive to changes in circulation. In the early stages, you might notice mild tingling, a pins and needles sensation, or a subtle burning feeling in your toes or fingertips. Some people also experience occasional numbness, making it harder to feel temperature or even small injuries. These sensations may come and go at first, but over time, they can become more constant if the underlying cause is not addressed. Linda, a 59-year-old from Alberta, Canada, first noticed a faint buzzing feeling in her feet while watching TV in the evenings. At first, she assumed it was because she liked to sit cross-legged on the couch. But the tingling kept returning, even when she was lying flat in bed. Eventually, it spread to her calves, and she started to worry. When she finally went to her doctor, blood tests revealed her blood sugar was elevated, putting her in the prediabetes range. The nerve symptoms were an early warning sign that her body had been struggling for a while. Her doctor explained that catching neuropathy early can prevent further nerve damage, especially if blood sugar is brought under control quickly. Ignoring tingling or numbness can be risky because nerve damage, once advanced, is much harder to reverse. It can affect balance, increase the risk of falls, and even lead to unnoticed injuries that heal slowly. If you start experiencing unusual sensations in your hands, feet, or legs, whether it is tingling, numbness, or burning, it is important to bring it up with your healthcare provider. Even mild, occasional symptoms can be the first sign of a bigger issue. Early action, including blood sugar management, gentle exercise to improve circulation, and proper foot care, can help protect your nerves. The key is not to dismiss these sensations as just getting older. Sometimes, they are your body's way of sending you a quiet but urgent message. Sign 7. Dark patches of skin. Have you ever noticed velvety, darker patches of skin on your neck, under your arms, or around your knuckles? You might think it's just from friction, sweat, or aging, but in many cases, these spots are a sign of something much more important. This condition is called acanthosis nigricans, and it often points to insulin resistance, one of the earliest red flags for prediabetes. Here's why it happens. When your body becomes less responsive to insulin, your pancreas works harder to produce more of it. This excess insulin can cause skin cells to reproduce faster and increase pigment, resulting in those darker, slightly thickened patches. They can feel soft and smooth, or in some cases, slightly rough. Robert, a 61-year-old from Ohio, first noticed a faint shadow-like patch on the back of his neck. At first, he assumed it was dirt that wasn't washing off completely. He scrubbed harder in the shower, but it didn't fade. Over the next year, similar marks appeared under his arms. His wife urged him to get checked, and blood work revealed that his fasting glucose and A1C levels were both elevated, placing him firmly in the prediabetes range. Those patches had been his body's quiet way of waving a red flag. The tricky thing is that acanthosis nigricans doesn't hurt, itch, or cause any major discomfort, so it's easy to ignore. But for people at risk, especially those who are overweight, have a family history of diabetes, or live a sedentary lifestyle, it can be a crucial early warning sign. If you see these dark patches, don't just cover them up or assume they're harmless. Talk to your doctor and ask about testing your blood sugar and insulin levels. If caught early, lifestyle changes like improving your diet, exercising regularly, and losing even a small amount of weight can improve insulin sensitivity and sometimes even lighten the patches over time. Your skin can reveal a lot about your internal health. Paying attention to these subtle changes might be the first step in preventing more serious complications down the road. In the case of acanthosis nigricans, what shows up on the outside is often a reflection of what's happening inside, and it's worth listening to. Recap: the 7 signs of prediabetes you should never ignore are constant fatigue, increased thirst and frequent urination, slow healing wounds or bruises, blurred vision, unexplained weight changes, tingling or numbness in the hands or feet, and dark patches of skin. If you notice any of these signs in yourself or someone you care about, talk to your doctor and ask for a simple blood sugar test. Early action can make all the difference. Which of these signs surprised you the most? Share your answer in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe for more health tips that help you take control of your future before it is too late.